there is always such a profound reason why a soul makes a certain choice for an experience on earth. And all the time when I have tried to understand under regression therapy why I lived a certain experience in a lifetime, I was explained, let's say, in a multi-layered way. So all the time our Father offered me with great generosity a complex answer which consisted of many nuances, let's say, many different aspects that made up a complex answer for only one choice that defined my life experience. So coming back to your question, why I chose a man's body to live in as a feminine soul. One of the reasons was that in the previous lives that I had before Pyotr Ilyich, I had a lot of sexual traumas. And so as a woman, I felt very vulnerable and very fragile. So I made this choice to come in a man's body because I felt much more protected, let's say. When my spirit decided to return on earth in order to live a new life, a new experience in a physical body, this was one of the conditions, let's say, I put to the divinity to give me a man's body so that I could feel safer inside this body. Of course, that each choice has its advantages and disadvantages, and what I didn't really perceive, or I ignored deliberately at that moment, was the fact that I really felt protected in a man's body, but that I felt incompatible and I felt strange in a man's body who did not define my fragility and my femininity. Another reason linked to the first one was the fact that our Father wanted to make me understand more about a man's body and a man's sexuality and a man's needs, because each time when you accuse someone of something, you tend to change roles, not from a karmic point of view, the idea of revenge, but to have a different perspective that makes you understand the other. As our Father put it, you never really understand another human being until you are in his or her own shoes. So I also had to be in a masculine body in order to understand some things that I hadn't understood before. Then a very subtle and profound reason was the fact that our Father quite frequently uses a technique for our evolution, for our process of learning, in which he suppresses one energy, one talent, one let's say natural characteristic of the soul, in order to make that particular energy or that talent to erupt, to develop in another way, and to create an inner pressure, let's say, in order to express itself. For example, it's quite common that people who unfortunately are born without sight, or people who lose their ability to see things, might have as a lesson to develop other kind of senses, to develop, for example, their clairvoyance, or to develop simply their ability to feel in a very sharp way their own feelings and other people's feelings, emotions. So if they don't see with their own eyes, their energy, their attention and their being starts concentrating on other aspects of life, and thus makes their soul develop in another directions than a person who sees normally with his or her eyes. So coming back to my story and to Pyotr Ilyich, because I felt that my body was not really my body, because I felt as a woman trapped, hidden in a masculine body, I felt I couldn't express myself. And because I also lived in a society of the 19th century in which, of course, homosexuality was not well seen, and of course that I was afraid of being judged by the others, I tended, of course, to hide my gestures, to hide my feelings, to hide my being. Thus, what God intended in this situation was to make my sensitivity, to make my love and all my strong inner emotions to develop and to erupt through my heart. Because I couldn't express myself as a normal human being, I couldn't express myself with normal gestures. I couldn't express my love freely. I couldn't express physically my feelings. So everything that I felt and that I lived inside myself had to be poured out through my heart, and was also poured and was let's say concentrated in my music, who also poured out of my heart and my sensitivity. So all my inner energy and my inner love had to be focused through my heart. So I couldn't express myself in a physical shape and through my physical body at all, in order to be forced to express all my being through my heart, through my sensitivity, and in my music. So these are only a few of the reasons which made up my soul's choice to come as a feminine soul in a masculine body. But I want to underline in the end that all these separations are part of the physical world here on earth, and do not define our reality home in the higher realms that we might call heavens. Because as spirits, we are both feminine and masculine. We consist of the two energy, yin and yang, let's say, and we have aspects of both of them. And all these separations characterize only our lives on earth. Being part of a certain gender, being part of a certain nationality, being part of a certain nation, being part of a certain religion, everything on earth creates this illusion of separation only for the soul to live in a certain context, to feel certain feelings, to be part of certain experiences. But all in all, this is why I have already mentioned in other episodes of our podcast that we should try slowly to give up all this idea of separation, to be open-minded, flexible, to embrace the other beings, because these separations are only instruments, are important tools for our evolution in order to make us learn to understand different aspects of the human soul, different aspects of the existence. But all in all, we all have in our spiritual reality everything in us. So separation is always only an illusion which is meant only to carve in ourselves during a certain lifetime. But now I think it's the important time, and it's essential for our rising towards the fifth dimension, to let go all these barriers and all these separations between us, and to look to one another with a great love and with an open mind.